Good evening, everybody. Time is 6:32 p.m., June 25th, 2025. I'd like to call this Town Board regular meeting to order by asking everybody to please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you see on the agenda at this time, I'd like to make a motion for a brief executive session to discuss a personnel issue that will be taken care of and read about later on. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made by myself and seconded by Deputy Supervisor Murphy to go into an executive session briefly and discuss a personnel issue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in executive session. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go back into a regular session. No decisions were made, no money was spent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to come out of an executive session into a regular meeting. No decisions were made, no money was spent. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Okay, we've got a few presentations. First one we're going to do is our zoning committee, right? We flip-flop that?
Mr. Rennie.
Mr. Rennie, yes. Our zoning committee chair is going to come to the front and give a short presentation on some zoning changes. Rich Renia, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good to be back here. So an update on the zoning update. Our committee has been working for the last couple of years now as to updating the zoning, or I guess it's a year and a half since the comprehensive plan was voted in and put into place. So we've been working on an update to the entire zoning code, as everybody knows. Specifically tonight, what we've shared with you is a brand new section that came to our attention that was needed in the town, and requests from the planning board, requests from different members of the community and from the town board. So what this particular piece that's been presented to you is called Planned Community, and the intent is that this becomes a section within the overall zoning code. So the purpose of the Planned Community is to be able to take a larger tract of land and be able to kind of scrap some of the little details of the zoning that may restrict a nicer, larger project because of setbacks or because of allowable uses in a certain area, but be able to take that larger piece of property and first look at it from an open space perspective of what can we preserve. What's the good land, where are the ridges, where's the wetlands, where's everything we want to protect and preserve, and then zone it or kind of zoom in and allow somebody to be able to create a brand new community. And that brand new community, the idea would be something with housing, something with certain businesses allowed, something with retail, something with restaurants, so you could actually create a vibrant, self-contained community, if you would. That's what the general basis of this law would allow. So I can go through some details of how we looked at it and what we're presenting to the town board to get your initial feedback and your comment.
Hit a few keynotes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But the first thing I think is important, I'm just going to read it verbatim, is the first piece of it, which is called purpose. Purpose. The use regulations in this article are intended to provide use and design flexibility, which we think is key, the design flexibility, to encourage community development on appropriate large properties where such development fits into the rural character. Another very important, it can't just be something that doesn't fit in, so that's a mandate here. It has to fit into the rural character of the town. Protect its scenic, historic, and environmental resources, other high key factors here, which follows the comprehensive plan that we want to see business in Dover, we want to see things happen, we want to see progression, but we want to protect all of our important resources. This regulation provides a procedure for master plan development of properties of over 400 acres to promote housing, lodging, commerce, tourism, recreation, and open space protection in exchange for granting permission for use flexibility and more intensive development than is allowed by the underlying zoning. The town seeks to achieve significant protection of open space resources, especially scenic view sheds, ridge lines, water resources, and ecosystems. So that's the purpose, that's this particular proposed code in a nutshell. This would be the overall description of it. Now to get into it, how do we do that? That's the rest of the code. So starting at the top and working our way down, the first thing that somebody has to do is they have to do a conservation analysis. It's a requirement. It's not, everything that we've put in here is basically a requirement. So it's not, well, we only do conservation analysis if this and if that. No. Right off the bat, you come in with a conservation analysis because you have to present to the planning board all of the important key areas and where you're going to.
You have to meet it before you advance the application?
Yes, yeah, that's the first thing that they need to come in. Somebody has to think about the project. They just can't come in on a whim and lay something out, and we're going to go through wetlands, we're going to
Okay.
be on steep slopes. Conservation analysis first, which is where you go through and identify everything. So we want to see steep slopes identified, we want to see that a biologist went through and found where the wetlands are, and all of that work is done right in the beginning, because we want to protect things. So then after that, then in the regulatory section, there's a list of allowable uses. So you can dig into that a little bit as you review this. But this takes place in the RU and the RC districts. So in addition to residential or agriculture, that's the most common uses in those districts, it allows for residential single-family, duplex, and multifamily. And we put some limits on the duplex and multifamily of not more than 30% each of those, because we don't want to see a residential project occur in a planned community where, say, it's 100% multifamily, because we feel that that would take away from our hamlet areas. The comprehensive plan was very clear on saying we want to enhance the hamlet areas, and that the hamlet areas should have higher density, and that's where you want the majority of your multifamily housing to be, in your hamlet areas, because that's how you create the vibrant downtown type of feel. So we put those limits on purpose for that particular reason. And then other allowable uses are lodging facilities, hotel condominiums, meeting rooms and conference facilities, restaurants, retail, recreational, and service business associated with planned community use, office and other professional business use, and then outdoor amphitheaters. And we put a limit of 500 occupants on that, because we didn't want to see, we would like there to be a downtown area. Our view is that there could be a downtown area, there could be music playing, there could be restaurants, a place where not just the people who live in that community, but a place where everybody from the town can go and use it. But we don't want to see it turn into some large event venue that, hey, the housing sales aren't too good, so we're going to come back to the town with a new plan that says we're going to do 10,000 people there and do some sort of concerts or something like that, because it's not what the intended use is, and we think that something like that could become a nuisance.
And some of that's actually allowed already, such as the conference center type situation, right?
Yes, yes. So some of this also is a blend of the Country Inn and Conference Center.
That's the one.
And the recreation. So when I talk about lodging and when I talk about recreation here, those are not new things that are already allowed in this, but this would allow all of this as a combined use and introduce the commercial and downtown area to it, where the Country Inn and Conference Center doesn't allow that. That allows for, just as it said, a Country Inn and Conference Center, which is more like a single resort. And the single resort is something that could be nice, but you have to typically book a room to stay there or go in and use their restaurant, but it's not just necessarily open to walk around and as open to the community.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking for here. And then moving on from the regulatory section of it, we envision this as being a special permit that's issued for the entire master development plan. So what we envision is that the project comes before the planning board after they've completed their conservation analysis, and then they work hard with the planning board to work at this master development plan. And their master development plan it's in their hands, and it becomes in the planning board's hands. We've set some outside setback boundaries. We've set, and I'll go into them in a little detail, but we've set some minimum open space that we want to see, and obviously protection of all resources. But to allow the plan to be developed, each project would develop their own setbacks. Each project would develop their own layouts. They would develop their own mix of uses, because a lot of this depends on the tract of land that they're using. As we know, the town of Dover has some beautiful land, but there's a lot of vertical terrain. Some areas are flat, some areas are mountain. So there's not two parcels of land or multiple parcels that are put together that are the same. So we wanted that flexibility to really allow the community to have the most flexibility and give that power to the development and to the planning board to make those decisions and not hold them to one key thing because we said, oh, we want this exact setback. And then if you have too many setbacks like that, either the project goes away or we have a ton of things at a ZBA that maybe don't need to be there for a 25-foot here or there kind of thing. So we really wanted to take this and we said, let's put outside boundaries on it and we'll create this project within and leave the rest of that, coverages, setbacks, everything up to that particular project. And then the planning board would make that decision under a special permit.
Okay.
So as far as open space, we're looking to have 60% of the project area maintained as open space. And then as far as maximum impervious coverage, we're looking to have 25% or a maximum of 25% of the total site area be impervious. So instead of putting small requirements, like I said, with setbacks or even the number of units, let the design happen, let the design process happen, and see what comes out of it. The number of units is going to depend on the maximum amount of impervious. And then there's some bonuses within the proposed code if you use, say, impervious pavement, something like that, where you can allow rainwater to go through the pavement or through pavers to try to create some, I guess, some extra ways for people to be creative if they want to do that or if they want to go green. So we want to try to steer the project towards that. Maximum building height is 45 feet, which is similar to the downtown Hamlet areas that Dover already has, so that's not anything new. And as I've talked about, the dimensional density standards are determined on a per project basis. So each one adopts their own. On the open space, we want to see at least 100 feet of separation from any existing residential property to any structure within the proposed community development, because one of the other things that we're very concerned about is we don't want existing neighbors, somebody who has lived there, maybe the next door neighbor, to be bothered by a project. Now, everybody understands that there is zoning and the property next to you could be developed at some point in the future, but we want to have enhanced standards or setbacks to try to avoid a little bit of that where people feel like there's new development right on top of them. One of the other requirements is we want to see, I talk about this downtown type of development in a community. We've put in a requirement for a traditional neighborhood layout. The idea is the basis of the idea is houses and clustering, so houses are close together, but that everything is walkable. You have sidewalks in a downtown area, you have street trees, that type of feel where everybody wants to get out and go walk around the community. That would be the goal of a community like this. The other thing is that when a project like this comes in, for the entire future of it, it's always treated as one project. There could be different owners of it because they're going to subdivide. There'll be different homeowners. There'll be different people that maybe own the businesses. So we envision that it doesn't just have to be one entity that owns it, but we've put language in here that says it's still, no matter who owns it, even if it's owned by, say, 25 different people or entities, it's still one project. So everything that happens in there is looked at as one project, which we think is important because if you don't do that, then what you thought the project was going to be over time, individuals can come in and start to slowly change that, and you kind of lose what you were intending to have in the beginning. Another requirement that we have is water and sewer. It's a requirement to have central public sewer on on a project like this. So you're either going to create your own or you're going to tie into another existing one somehow. So it's on them to do that, but on a large project like this, we don't want it to be handicapped by having individual wells or individual septic systems, because that could handicap something in the future. We want to see a central water and wastewater facility that is owned and operated by the community.
Probably in most cases throughout our town, whether it be north, south, east, or west, we don't have public sewer or water anyway.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It
But
makes sense.
and that would entice having the downtown area and having the restaurants. If you don't do that, then you can have a downtown where it's too hard to get a restaurant approved here, so we just end up with no restaurants.
Yeah, the only one we have is the developments in Wingdale.
Right, exactly. So then another key requirement in here that I think everybody's interested to hear how you're going to deal with it is roads. So it's a requirement in here that all new roads would be privately owned and maintained. So none of their roads can ever become a burden on the town. They have to, if they're going to do, if somebody was going to do a project like this, they have to be privately owned and maintained. And then the other bigger requirement that we've put into here, we thought about the environmental a lot, and probably one of the biggest issues that most development has to deal with is how do you deal with your stormwater runoff? So on a project like this, part of the trade-off is going to be, and it's required when you read through this, the requirement is for stormwater that you're not going to just do standard stormwater that New York State requires. We're requiring the enhanced stormwater that the New York City watersheds require. So we thought that that was very important. If we're going to do a project like this in the town of Dover, we want to see it, but we want to see those enhanced standards because we want to protect our own groundwater. We want to protect our streams. We want to protect all water resources. So we've put that as a requirement, and there's no way around it. The developers have to do the enhanced stormwater, the same as that they have to do in the New York City watershed. And those have been, and we're using that as our standard because it's proven, tested, and it's made their water reservoirs much cleaner because of it. And then the last thing that we've worked into this as well too, if there are any historic structures that are identified within your project site, then you have to restore them or maintain them. If it's not in good condition and it can be salvaged, then we want the project to be able to invest in a historic structure. One of the things going through the comprehensive plan is that we found Dover doesn't have a lot of historic structures, and we don't have, say, a historic downtown area or an area where you could put a large protection on historic structures, but we have these very spotted ones or ones that could be of local significance. So if a project comes in and there is some sort of a historic structure, then we want to see that restored rather than knocked down. We'd like to see them work that into their project site, so a little bit of history of Dover is always saved.
Okay. And I see it's only allowed to enter or exit onto a state or county road?
Yes, yeah, that was another.
Just to avoid local roads?
Exactly. And with that, we're requiring, there's a few things that I actually highlighted in the detailed part of the code, or proposed code. A traffic analysis is required. I talked about the stormwater before, but we're requiring a traffic analysis, so somebody can't come in and think that they're going to do this without doing a full traffic analysis, because the planning board has got to see what the impacts to the local roads, to the neighborhoods are going to be. Some of this, the things that we put in here that are preemptive is to not give any false ideas. If you're going to do a project like this, you have to do it. It's just the way that it's going to be. The other thing to point out is that we envision that they're going to create their own architectural standards. So rather than writing specific standards, let the project come in and propose the standards. They have to be in keeping with what the local community is, but let them propose them. Architectural standards are difficult because they change over time. You know, what is a preferred look? What is appealing to different people? So we let that happen as part of the project as well, too.
All right. Well, I know it's been distributed. Maryland has distributed to planning and zoning appeals, as well as it has been distributed amongst us. So I believe she's asking for remarks and/or questions or statements made by the 14th. All right, so I would ask the same thing, if you have anything to say from the board, that you get emails back to myself and to Marilyn, and they will have time to go over it, because I think you have a meeting on the 16th.
Yes, yeah, and so I wanted to say
That's
that
how it's
too.
working? Okay.
Our next meeting is scheduled for July 16th.
Okay.
And we would welcome if one of the board members would like to actually come to the meeting
Okay.
and discuss any of the board's thoughts or
Yeah.
ideas with us.
Marilyn, let that be known to us as well as a member from the planning board.
Yes, yes, and we've invited somebody from the planning board
And
as well,
then
too.
we would have to schedule a public hearing, correct? You want to schedule the public hearing for our next regular
Well,
meeting?
I don't think we have to schedule that for this, because this is a piece of the overall zoning. So we're just trying to carve out a piece of something that nobody has ever seen before, get it in front of everybody, get
Okay.
comments in, and then, like I had said, once we have everybody's comments and we feel we have a final draft of it, then we would put it into the overall zoning code.
So you're putting it within the already established code? in
Yes,
the book.
exactly. So this, our idea is
Public
that
hearing,
this
we're
is not
putting something
standalone.
new in.
So so I guess a little look ahead for you is we're hoping over the next 2 months for July and August to finish this. We're also working on a piece of the zoning code update that's going to include that we've never had before is energy facilities, which is a deep dive into how do we regulate, how do we deal with permitting, how do we deal with any future energy facilities, because as we know, we found out with other projects that we're right in a key corridor for energy, so we want to have that very
The key thing would be
clear.
industrial allowed on commercial, right?
Say that again?
Commercial property, industrial-type projects are allowed on it.
On a CO property,
Yes.
light manufacturing, light
The
commercial,
example's up the road.
yes,
It was allowed.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's what I'm getting at. So that's
So
what
the
we-
vision is that we finish up that section, and we compile everything in, and at the end of the summer, we're then presenting this board a final zoning code that's been updated in little pieces from definitions, things have changed since the late 90s. One really good example is that most of our gas stations now are really a convenience store with a gas station. They used to be, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and kind of transitioning in the 90s, they used to be motor vehicle repair stations with a gas station. Now you don't see that anymore. Most of the time, you see a motor vehicle service station that's standalone and they're not selling gas, and then you see a convenience store that sells gas. So it's little things like that as well that are in, that you'll see when you get the code.
The county has brought out a new water law.
Yes, yes.
You can't, so.
Yeah, that's a
basically, you
separation.
probably will never, ever see a new gas facility again.
But it could
It could.
change things
Could.
as well too, because in theory, some of the things holding it back is their new law actually restricts the public water, the development of a public water well, which the convenience store needs. And you have to be separated from their gas station use. So that's going to preclude that. So you may see somebody turn around having a convenience store without a gas station. So,
That's what I'm
but,
saying. A gas facility may not be seen again, other than what's already established in
right,
there.
yes, it is very possible.
So bring something in
Yeah.
new.
Yeah. However, if
They
you're,
made it harder than that.
if there is central water, then that changes that. Because now your separations are only from the wells or
Mm-hmm.
the water source that supply the central water.
It's like 1,500 feet or something.
Exactly. So that's why it's to do its own standalone gas station and convenience store, that with the county regulations, you almost can't do that. But our regulations talk about a gas station being part of a motor vehicle service station and not a definition for a gas station. So
Okay.
we've basically are modernizing part of the code as well too, so it speaks the language of how people live their lives today. So you'll see when you get the code, you'll see little things like that. But then you're going to see things like the planned community, you'll see energy facilities and all these other things that we've thought about, had discussions about, and then and then also drawing in from the new comprehensive plan, so everything aligns.
So they're the deadlines. If we can get some comments by the 14th and forward them to Marilyn, first and foremost, CC myself and Katie, and we will get that to them by their next meeting. Again, Rich, thank you for your committee. For those of you who are unaware, that committee is made up of Chairman Renia, who is an engineer, former and present planning board and zoning chairs, our planning and zoning secretary, who is also a former zoning board chair, large property owners, and businessmen. We put that committee together so that we're touching on everything. And we actually had a resident or two, but they had to resign. So that committee itself has more ideas and more thoughts and more opinions than probably any other committee we have here, because it covers all the bases in our eyes. So that's the group that puts this stuff together. They're looking at all aspects throughout the town. Safe to say?
And we're all volunteer.
And you're all volunteer. They've been together since COVID, and they made it work.
Yes.
So, Rich, thank you
100%.
very much.
Thanks, Rich.
All right, thank you.
try to attend
And
that
thank you
meeting
for
on the
the
16th.
opportunity to discuss this.
You got it.
Take care.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you. Next, we're going to have a presentation from a up-and-coming Eagle Scout. How's that? Is that okay? And I'm sorry, your name again? Allison. Please approach the podium.
Before I start, I have a photo of what the bench will look like and my resume.
Thank you. And would you just make sure you please pull the microphone down close to you so everybody can hear you out in the real world?
Hello, my name is Allison Hill. I'm a part of Troop 71 in Bethel, Connecticut, and right now I am a Life Scout. I am asking permission to build and distribute benches for the town of Dover and Wingdale. For this, when I start, there are a couple steps I have to take to build the benches and everything. First things we have to do are fundraise, so I have enough money to get and build the benches. Then we have to acquire all the materials to make them. I have to measure and mark the pieces, and then adults will end up cutting them and like doing that stuff because it's really not safe for the younger kids to do, and like me. And I will then sand all the pieces and glue and assemble them and carry them to the locations. So I need to be approved from this project. And what I will need from you guys for, if I get approved, is the number of benches we need and the locations of the benches. Before I can start the project and start fundraising, I have to schedule a meeting to get approved from my Scoutmaster, committee chair, and council. Then I need a point of contact or a representative from you guys, and I was hoping that could be Miss Jackson because she worked with my dad at the high school.
Wait, I don't have a problem with that. That'd be good.
Thank you. And then, if that's all, then thank you for your time tonight.
Well, Allison, I want to say one thing. I've had to give out a few awards or recognitions for Eagle Scouts, and I've been honored to do that, and it's been a privilege. And I've always said that I would never deny anything, especially a young person trying to do what they want to do and move up. And what I would call in the fire service is earn your rank, okay? I know what you all have to go through. I did look into that, and it's a lot of steps. It's a big ladder to climb. And again, I compare it to the fire service. You got to do all this to get to lieutenant and then the captain and above, right? So I am more than willing to let you attack this project, especially on our properties. I have the Stone Church, right? You mentioned the Stone Church, right? And maybe the wreck down in Wingdale, if you want to cover Wingdale as well. I'm okay with Susan being the contact, Councilwoman Jackson. But we will put you in contact, or Ms. Jackson will put you in contact with our Trails Committee Chair, Ryan Courtine. He has the ideas already where Stone Church, they need to be placed. Okay? But again, I would support this type of stuff every day. All right? It's not often that we get the young adults to come to us and want to do something for us. And I appreciate that, and I respect that. Okay? Tom, anything?
No, I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
John?
I will say that my son, my younger son, is also an Eagle Scout, and I know what he had to do to get that. And I can speak on behalf of the commander of the American Legion that we could use a bench. So,
That's in Wingdale.
let's do
There you
it.
go.
Yeah.
Jay?
Congratulations, you guys should be proud. Good job. Thank you.
Ms. Jackson?
Looking forward to working with you on this, and I'm very excited that you're going to be able to do this for our town. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you very much.
So you let us know what you need. I'll sign anything you need to have signed. And we will support you, whatever you need to have, whatever you need to look into or permission to do. All right? And Mom, Dad, thank you.
Ms. Jackson can sign the forms.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. We're good with that. All right, but best of luck. Thank you very much. And I look forward to the day to looking at them with you and presenting them to us.
Thank
All right?
you.
Thank you.
so much.
Good job,
Thank
good
you.
job. And I'd also like to say to Mom and Dad, good job. I know what you parents do, and I've done it myself. That's very proud of her.
This is their second Eagle Scout.
Oh, even better.
right?
Well, congratulations. Lot of help, Dad? Lot of help?
Come on.
Lot of help?
I was the scoutmaster when my son was actually in the troop, but now I'm just an assistant scoutmaster. He
Good.
built the little library at
Yep.
the center of the back.
Yep. Well, fine job. Fine job.
Don't just say you're just, you know, we know what happens. Thank you.
Okay, you said we have one more that wants to come up early?
Yes, if you could,
Amy?
yes, please.
Okay. All right, at this time, Director of the Library, you want to come on up?
Hi, I am a little taller. Thank you for letting me speak. It's been a long day, so I appreciate getting to go before public comment, which is what we initially were thinking. I'm here to talk about the air conditioning situation at the library building, and I'm just going to read a letter. Dear Supervisor Yuno and Town Council persons, I write to request that you take action to schedule the replacement of the AC in the town-owned building at 1797 Route 22 in Wingdale, where the Dover Plains Library is a tenant. The central air conditioning at the library has been unreliable since August of 2023. As emails attest, it was not working at all in late August 23. The town's response to my calls and requests at that time was that fall was coming and there would be no need for air conditioning, which was certainly true. But again, as emails attest, in May of 24, I had to ask Dover Rec, who was very kind about it, to schedule service calls because the air conditioning was not working. Taylor Oil was able to get it going again, but it was inconsistent and unreliable. It required multiple technicians' visits, and on many hot summer days, there was no AC. And I had to close the library early multiple times. Finally, in August of 24, Taylor Oil pronounced the system dead and in need of replacement. I'm aware that the town has many pressing concerns and responsibilities, and I understand that the building has many expensive issues related to deferred maintenance. At the same time, the library is a tenant of a town-owned property, and the town has known that the AC was not working properly for 22 months, and that it was completely dead for the last 10 months. The library has a robust schedule of programs this summer that benefit adult and youth residents of the community. Indeed, some of the summer programs are already completely full and have wait lists. Without a plan of action from the town, I am unsure whether or not the library will be able to hold these programs. It was 87 degrees in the main room when I left at 6 o'clock today. Today I was told by an employee of the rec department that there's a plan to order window units for the library's main room. All those windows are on the same electrical circuit. The circuit on an adjacent wall trips every time we try to plug in a coffee maker and an electric kettle at the same time. Beyond my concerns about the electrical wiring's capability, I disagree with the fundamental premise of that plan. Installing window units will be less expensive for the town than the necessary work to replace the air conditioning. At the same time, such an inefficient and wasteful solution will greatly increase the library's electricity bills. The library is already paying for the electricity of the eastern wall in the Legion Hall that powers the window unit down there and several kitchen appliances as well. The library already takes on the burden of utilities for the town and the Legion, as you both know. It is not right to assume that adding to that burden is a fiscally responsible choice. The library pays our bills with taxpayer dollars just like the town does. I really am asking you, please, to figure out a way to schedule and replace the broken air conditioning. Thank you.
So the window units, you can stay right there. The window units are only a plan to help alleviate the heat until the system is installed.
So when will...
Hold on. At this time, I've been working with Senator Henchy for the last 2 weeks, and I can't put it public yet, but it looks like we may be getting a considerable grant to pay for that. Now, I was also told in the wintertime that there may be some parts available to help get that going until we were able to replace it. Then, after the first of the year, I was told the parts were unavailable. You know I've been working on this project for months. I'm trying to alleviate the heat issue. That's why Sean was there measuring the windows today, checking the power outlets, and it has come to my attention since he's called me back that it probably will not work.
Because he
So
asked
I
me
have
and
a
I told
conversation.
him.
Hold on.
You could call me.
I have a conversation with Hinchy's office tomorrow to discuss the situation again, because the grant process of upwards of $90,000 probably won't happen until fall. So I'm working on a plan to alleviate that. Now, I have the power to deem it an emergency. But that's going to be discussed tomorrow with Hinchy's office. If they can't get me the money sooner than later, then I have to make a choice. And that's why I'm sitting in this seat. That'll be the choice I have to make. But it's not that we haven't been working on it.
That is not a fair
Well,
assessment.
that's your opinion.
No, it's
That's
not.
your
I
opinion.
have emails.
That's your opinion. And I told you that I was told that there were
22
parts
months.
available.
No, you did not tell me that.
I just said it.
You just said it now, but you knew
Exactly.
that in January? Then
January, I knew it was gone.
Why was I asked to?
And I've been working on it
Why was I
since the
asked to
spring.
have HVAC companies come and see the issue, the
Because you offered to
situation?
do that.
Yes, because I was told in September that the entire thing would have to be replaced.
And then I
But
was,
you apparently knew that there were parts that could be ordered.
wintertime, they told me there may be parts available.
So winter
Okay.
but
Amy,
I understand the desire to
Listen.
be the one who's solving the
for the
problem.
people to be calling me saying I'm not doing a damn thing about it, they got to be told by somebody.
Well, they're
I'm
not
letting
being
you
told
know.
by me.
I'm letting you know that we are working on it.
Okay,
And
well,
I'm
you are
coming up
not
with a plan.
communicating that with the library at all.
I don't have to.
Okay, well,
You
we're
know
your
I'm
tenant.
working on it.
No, actually, I do not.
Well, then you're not listening.
Sir,
The
that
day
is
I talked to you about the
unfair.
generator job, I told you I was working it and putting a plan together.
Yeah.
Did I not when we were outside?
What month was that?
A month and a half ago.
It was easily 2 months ago.
Okay, 2
I've
months ago.
heard nothing.
Because I don't have nothing for you yet.
Okay. Well, it would have been great if you had done this in August or September of 2023.
Well, I was also, let me finish. I was also going to go for a loan.
Okay?
And then about 3 months ago, I got word that you were going to increase your budget. So that held me back a little bit,
Why?
which we still haven't been officially told yet.
Right, because,
So now I got budget questions. So now I'm trying to go through the grant process.
sir, why
We're
would you
working on
going
it.
for a loan be affected at all by the library's decision to increase
Because
their tax?
it doesn't,
potentially?
your increase doesn't affect my cap,
No.
but it affects the total of the budget. So I can come in at zeros, and your $125,000 still makes the budget go up a 2%.
We are not part of your budget. You are a pass-through for a
The
414.
grand total of the entire budget will go up $125,000 if I come in totally flat,
Okay.
right?
But we
It's
are
an
not
increase.
part of your budget. That is
Just-
not,
I
we
just
are,
said, you don't affect my cap.
correct.
You
So,
affect the grand total. The grand total is paid for by the residents,
oh,
the
that I
taxpayers.
understand.
so it still goes up. If I come in 0%,
If you look at your tax bill,
125 comes in 2% over.
if you look at our tax bill,
Go ahead.
the library is separate from the town.
It's separate in my budget.
We are not part of your budget.
Yes, you are.
No, we
The
are not.
The grand total of the budget includes your $275,000. You want to go up 125 to make it 400.
Nope.
It's a
that wouldn't make it.
125,000 increase on the total balance of the budget. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying.
That does not change your ability to get a loan, which is what you just told me.
I'll have to pay on that loan. So now I'm looking at my payment plan.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm trying to get free money from the state, taxpayer money, but
Okay,
not
but
out of my
again,
budget.
sir,
The payback isn't coming out of my
what the
budget.
library is doing with our budget does not affect your ability to get a loan, which is what you just told me.
Taking out the loan to fix the building that I am responsible for does.
Yes, it does, but
Okay?
that has zero relevance to the library going for an increased 414.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Explain to me the math on how,
I just did.
sir, what you
Your
said.
$125,000 increase, if it's passed by the voters,
Mm-hmm.
will increase my grand total by $125,000.
Which has zero effect on your ability to get a loan.
You still have to pay the loan, the payments.
I
You still have to
understand.
pay your taxes to cover that
It's
loan
your
balance.
building.
I know that.
We are already paying for the Legion's utilities and getting almost nothing in return despite asking for space.
And we've known that. And you
Yes.
got that space.
No, sir, we have not. We are
All right,
not
we're gonna
allowed
end it
to
right
use
here.
this.
Amy, that's
We're gonna
not
end it
fair,
right
because
here.
I gave you everything you asked for
You did
on
not
the
give us
calendar.
Saturdays. That's what we asked for. We asked for one Saturday a month, and I was told that I could not take money out of your mouths because that's your rental. Meanwhile, we.
I never said anything about money out of our mouths.
That is, I'm quoting the town supervisor.
The Saturdays and Sundays are reserved.
Quote.
Saturdays and Sundays.
It is not, I was not
Okay,
the only one present.
We are done here, Jan. We are done here. If you want to talk about this privately, you can schedule a time with me and my...
I do not want to talk about it privately
Then
because
fine.
I have done so for the past 22
The
months.
one thing you did forget is you forgot that I put $45,000 into a boiler, which also affected my
I
time
did not
frame.
forget that.
Okay,
But
'cause
the
that affected my
library
time
is
frame.
not responsible for the deferred maintenance problems of the building.
Okay,
I have people coming to the library and immediately leaving because it's too hot for their children.
and I'm working on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on. Reports from the Recreation Director and Highway Super. Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie Muncie from Dover Recreation. Dover Day Camp starts Monday, June 30th. Right now, we have over 100 kids registered, but I'm very confident we'll be having quite a lot more starting in the next few days now that school's going to be ending. We can also, you can also sign up for before and after care for camp. That runs, before care runs from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., and after care runs from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Sorry. If you still need daycare, we also have, after August 8th, we have a playground program, which is a modified version of camp, and that starts August 11th to August 22nd. Our summer programs are starting in July, which is golf, sand volleyball, tennis lessons, Super Tots program, and track and field. So that will be starting in July into August. And starting in August, we also have at the high school, middle school, high school gym, we start advanced basketball program and volleyball program. Registration for all our programs, including day camp, is still open for our clinics as well, and you can just go to doverrecreation.com. Any other questions?
Nope. I want to just say good job on the benefit.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I got something, a little something to say
All right.
on that. But,
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Highway Soup?
Hi, everyone. Jason Story, Dovertown Highway. This month, we're still mowing back the roads and clearing around road signs and weed whacking, cutting back ditches, all that kind of stuff. There might be some places out there still, so if anybody's out there that hears it and says, hey, I can't see that good from here when I pull out here, please give our office a call. Sometimes we don't always see it because we're not on those roads all the time, so if anybody's out there and sees that, give us a call. Also, we're going to be painting the stop bars, which is at stop signs here coming up. We had to wait till the temperature gets a little bit warmer, which I think it has. So it'll be a little bit easier to paint that when it's so it sticks better. Our grading for the spring grading is all finished. Our paving project was projected to be on July 7th. They moved it ahead today to July 9th because they're a little bit behind because of some of the weather. Those roads will consist of Johnson Road, Sheldon Road, Sprague Road, and Bannister Lane at the top of Johnson. We have gone through already so far in the past month and a half or so and changed a bunch of different pipes, catch basins, and prepared the whole road. We have just a couple little things to go before we clean the road off and they show up to pave and they do rebates, which is they cut back driveways and everything like that. They'll start with that first, so there'll be some things like that going on. So hopefully that'll work out for July 9th. Also, the pond at Boys Park, the hydro seeding should be done here shortly. We had to wait. The county's coming to do it for free, which is the soil and water. Brian Skorlick comes and they donate it. So it'll be free to us, which a lot of the stuff we have gotten for free for the project down there. He had to wait until the ground dried up a little bit because they have to drive through it. And because of the rain that we've had, it's been a little bit wet. So we had to hold up on that. Same thing with grading it all off. We had to wait until it dried out enough so we could actually do something with it. We also are putting in a dry hydrant for the fire company. We're waiting for one more piece. That'll be at the north end. So we have to wait for that. Also, we're waiting for the drain part of it. or the screen part of it, so it doesn't suck anything into it, and the fire company sucks water up. The other thing is there's be a fountain being put in. I think Jan's going to help out with that. So that's going to get done also. There'll have to be a trench dug for it because there's more power than just a regular outlet power. It's like 220 power, so it's a lot stronger of one that we've had there in the past. I also received a bale of barley straw, which was donated by Tim Cole, who owns Iron Wheel Farms. And what the barley does, it's a big, large square bale, and it gets set into the lake, and it gives off I'm going to say toxin, but it's not a bad toxin where it hurts any people or any fish or anything like that. It actually kills the seaweed and stuff on the top of it and takes care of that with no harm to the fish or anything else. So if you go by here in another week or so and you see it floating in there, it's okay that it's floating in there. It's for a reason. And it'll sink to almost level with the water, and it'll be there until next year when we do it again. So I'd like to thank Tim for donating that to us. And that's pretty much it. And I'd like to thank my team for everything and the hard work that they've been doing, especially for the past couple of days.
Thank you, Jason. It looks good down there.
It does. Hey, Jason, does that have to get applied every year or every other year? Or is it, yeah,
Every year.
every year?
Yeah, he has his own pond, which is almost the same size as ours, a little bit smaller, and it's a large bale.
Yeah.
And you anchor it up, you tie it off, and let it float. And his pond is crystal clear. There's nothing in it, and it's amazing. He got the idea from a place over in Pennsylvania, and he's been doing it to his, and other people are. And I've gone online and researched it, and a lot of people, if you have a koi pond in your yard, they put little bags of it here and there in their pond and stuff. Because ours is so big, we need a bigger bale. So hopefully we'll get it in here in the next week or so.
Looks good.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Are we waiting to seed until Jan is done? I know that was part of the talk.
Well, we're going to get all our seeding done. It's no
Okay.
big deal that we have to go back and put some grass seed down here and there and stuff,
We'll be
because
good.
it's such a large area, we need to get it done.
Yep.
So I'm going to call Brian tomorrow, Skorlick, and touch base with him again, see when he's going to be here for that.
So it should be green, somewhat green down there by Dover Day.
So, it better be. It shouldn't take but a couple weeks once it's down
Yeah,
to get it ready and stuff for greenness.
sounds good.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Reports to the supervisor and the town board members. Councilman Holmes.
Yes, I've spent some time with Jason over the last month talking about the projects that he's up against and going to be doing, and went out on a few field trips, see what the guys have been doing. So congratulations with all the guys, what they do, and working on days like today. It's hot.
Yeah.
Out in the sun on blacktop. Good job, guys.
The one thing, Jason, though, is when you're definitely for sure on the days of starting the blacktop,
I'll let you know.
could you just shoot us an email to Katie and myself and the board?
I'm meeting with them on
The way we could put it out. We'll put it out on the boards.
Monday, and I'll have a better idea if it's going to be the 9th exactly.
All right. I'll try to share it on all of Dover pages.
For them, then we should be fine.
Yeah. It looks actually good next week. So, some showers, maybe. Councilman Maluta.
Well, I did, as Jason mentioned, I did look at there's been a lot of chatter about a fountain in the pond, and yes, we will have a fountain in the pond. I did look at it, and County Legislator House and myself will work on, a time and when we can get that installed. I'll be the project lead on that, and don't worry, we'll have a beautiful fountain that's going to be sparkly. And that's all I got. And I wasn't here last meeting. I apologize for that, but I wanted to thank everybody for Memorial Day. We had a good turnout, and we have a new speaker system coming, so people on the road can hear. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Just gotta talk louder, that's all. Councilwoman Jackson.
The school dining program would like to announce that there are free summer meals for kids and teens 18 and younger during the summer from July 1st to August 22nd. This will be at Wingdale Elementary School and Dover Elementary School from 8:30 in the morning till 12:30. It's pickup meals, so you don't have to register, you don't have to have any ID, you just have to be under 18 and under to go get the food. Before I offer my congratulations to the class of 2025, I want to offer special congratulations to a school employee. A teacher aide at the school has worked there for 50 years and is retiring this year. Mrs. Sue Seguero is retiring this year after working there since 1974. So congratulations to her, and congratulations to the class of 2025.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. She was the cafeteria aide when I was in Wingdale Elementary. Wow. That means I'm getting old.
I wouldn't say that.
Deputy Supervisor Murphy.
Yeah, so I think Jason touched on it. The park looks great, the pond is going to be great, everything is just coming to plan. I said it a couple of meetings ago. I think everything that we put into the town recreation over the last 2-3 years is starting to come to shape. I think everyone is starting to see what we were talking about. It took a little longer than we wanted, I think we would all agree, but I think now that everybody's driving by and I think everybody's seeing it, great job, everyone involved. I attended the planning board meeting earlier this month. No public comments or attendees at that meeting. Again, I say it a couple of times, you want to be a part of the community, you want to know what's going on in the town, attend these meetings. Not just the town board meeting, planning board meetings, zoning board meetings. You got to be involved to know what's going on. So please, go to the website, take a look at what's going on, look at the minutes, look at the agenda, make yourself part of the agenda. All right? That's all I got. So,
Thank you, Jay.
thank you.
Before I do my report, just a report from the building department. 29 permits were issued this month, 30 certificates of compliance, 4 COs, and 10 violations. Respectfully submitted, Don Anderson. With that, I just got a few things. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody who put a very special day together, the Rojas benefit. Whether we've talked about it before or not, I think it needs to be talked about again. We had to postpone it from Saturday to Sunday. It's probably a good thing because the tent collapsed on Saturday at a time that we would have been under there and listening to the band. I believe Julie sent me a picture. Because we canceled, I did what I had to do on Saturday instead of Sunday, and I think around 4:15 she said, "I've got the tent company coming. It's a good thing we weren't under there." Half the tent collapsed, and it was because of the wind and the rain, and it just, some soft ground, it just let loose, and then once one peg goes, the other ones go too. I know it, 37 years of carnival. I know that. So I want to thank everybody to put together, Julie and Tracy, and everybody in the rec department staff and our volunteers, those who came out, the volunteers from the community that did the raffle. I don't know solid numbers, but the not so solid numbers I've been told are pretty good. And we helped a very, very nice family, a very good family, a loving family, our friends, they're our staff. The mom works here for us here at the town hall, and they are very, very appreciative, and they deserved everything that they were given that day with just love and friendship and financial assistance, which, it's always needed. And, we talked today, me and Kay, I've never seen it written where a mom or a dad should be going through that with their children. Yeah. And it's happened, and it happens everywhere. So I want to just thank everybody. It was a great day. It was an honor to open that day up, and just what we did for that family was good. So I'll stop ranting on that. The summer is here. Obviously, it's coming in with we go from not such a good spring to August. So, as you heard, I apologize for the discussion earlier, but, we know it's hot. We know it's going to be hot. We're doing what we can, and things don't move very fast in government. Don't we know that? If I could do it yesterday, I'd have done it last week. So we're at that. But be prepared. We had another small power outage again today, and the only conclusion I can get is possibly a tree that was down on 22 or an already first thing in the morning overload because of the heat. I'm waiting for a definite answer, but they're the 2 answers I got back today, and neither one of them really tell me what it was. So you got to be prepared, have your gas on hand for generators, be ready for the strong thunderstorms that we get in the northeast, And just be prepared and check on your neighbors and your friends, and especially those who are homebound. Other than that, that's all I have. Did I miss anything? Madam Clerk, you have anything? Council, anything? All right, we will move on. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Let you crash yourself.
Resolution authorizing approve consent agenda items. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby approve the following items for consideration and adoption on the June 25th, 2025 Town Board regular meeting consent agenda. Authorize the payment of abstract number 6 of 2025 in the amount of $344,550.14. Accept minutes of the Town Board regular meeting of May 28th, 2025. Approve the town clerk's report for May of 2025. Approve the town supervisor's financial report for May of 2025. Accept unanticipated revenue. Authorize budget transfers, budget amendments, and payment of off-abstract purchase orders as prepared and submitted by the town's bookkeeper. Reappoint town assessor for term commencing October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2031. Authorize the hiring of a summer seasonal town employee. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Resolution authorizing the release of a performance guarantee. Whereas a performance guarantee is the amount of $75,000 was posted by Cypress Creek Renewables and Dover Solar LLC in connection with an erosion and sediment control permit for construction of a 3,000 kilowatt solar farm on Route 22, identified as tax parcel number 706100730320. And whereas by resolution dated June 2nd, 2025, from the Town of Dover Planning Board, all work in connection with the erosion and sediment control permit has been completed to the satisfaction of the town engineer. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorizes the release of the performance guarantee of $75,000 to Cypress Creek Renewables and Dover Solar LLC in connection with their erosion and sediment control bond for a 3,000 kW solar farm on Route 22, identified as tax parcel number 706100730320. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Murphy, seconded by Holmes. Any discussion? Joe gave a report, planning board gave a report. Joe is fine with the sediment and erosion. Okay,
Send it, yeah.
all right. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. So carried. I don't like the way it looks. Resolution authorizing release of a performance guarantee. Whereas a performance guarantee in the amount of $5,000 was posted by SRM Enterprises Incorporated in connection with an erosion and sediment control permit for construction of a 2,400 square foot maintenance garage at property identified as tax parcel number 70590470937. And whereas by resolution dated June 2nd, 2025, from the Town of Dover Planning Board, all work in connection with the erosion and sediment control permit has been completed to the satisfaction of the town engineer. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorizes the release of the performance guarantee of $5,000 to SRM Enterprises Incorporated in connection with their erosion and sediment control bond for the construction of a maintenance garage and identified as tax parcel number 705904700937. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Murphy. Any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Resolution adopting the June 2025 Town of Dover Records Management Policy and Procedures Manual. Whereas the town's records management officer, in collaboration with the deputy town clerk, the town's records scanning clerk, and a records advisory board member, has prepared a draft records management policy and procedures manual to provide instruction and guidance for all town staff and departments on the creation, the management, storage, and final disposition of town records. And whereas the New York State Archives recommends that all New York State agencies and local governments implement a comprehensive records management program. And whereas the template of a comprehensive records management policy and procedures manual was obtained through the New York State Archives, tailored by a town committee versed in records management, and circulated to the town board for their review and feedback. Now therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Dover hereby adopts the June 2025 Town of Dover Records Management Policy and Procedures Manual, and be it further resolved, a copy of the manual will be made available to all town employees that create and manage town records, and a copy will be filed with the town clerk's office. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Jackson, seconded by Maluta. Any discussion? Anything you want to add?
No, we've been working on this for a couple months. The town has received records management awards in the past, and while we do have two laws, a record access law and a records management law, this was a best practice of the State Archives. So we used a template of the New York State Archives to fashion it, and the Records Advisory Committee looked at it, and we're presenting it for your approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Resolution authorizing supervisor to execute agreement with Dover Union Free School District for 2025-2026 youth baseball program. Whereas the town of Dover operates a taxpayer-funded basketball program, and whereas, I'm sorry, that was youth basketball program. Yeah. Whereas the town of Dover is in need of an indoor location to locate its basketball program, and whereas the town of Dover desires to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Dover Union Free School District for its basketball program as identified and approved by the Dover Union Free School District Superintendent of Schools from October 1 of 2025 to September 30 of 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Dover does hereby authorize the town supervisor to execute the intermunicipal agreement with Dover Union Free School District for use of their facilities for the use of the town of Dover basketball program from October 1, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by everybody, seconded by Murphy. Any discussion? Julie, we're all set? Registration's open yet? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Resolution authorizing the rehiring of summer justice court intern. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Dover does hereby authorize the hiring of summer intern Nolan Drennick to the position of summer intern with the town of Dover Justice Court effective June 16th, 2025 at an hourly rate of $16.50 per hour for a period not to exceed 15 hours per pay period. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Holmes. Discussion. I'll take the hit on this one. This happened in between meetings. Nolan worked here last summer. He got our justice program well ahead of where they were with a filing and a scanning system that we do. The judges requested it again, and he was here already. Talked to a couple officers and staff, and financially we are good. It's in the budget, so that's why you're hearing the resolution tonight. I apologize not getting it to you, but he's a return hire.
Absolutely.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Resolution authorizing the 2024 Town of Dover firefighters length, at this time, we recuse myself from this resolution, this part of the meeting.
You mind if I?
Susan, would you please read that? He's a little hoarse tonight.
Okay.
That I have to recuse myself due to the fact that I will benefit from this program within the Volunteer Fire Service, the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company. So at this time, I recuse myself from it.
Resolution authorizing 2024 Town of Dover Firefighters Length of Service Award Program, LoSAP, filing. Whereas the Town of Dover adopted a Length of Service Awards Program, LoSAP, for the members of the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company, which provides fire and emergency services to the Town of Dover. And whereas the Town of Dover received the 2024 Annual Report of the Town of Dover Volunteer Fire Service Award Program. And whereas, based on the 2024 Annual Report, the Town of Dover's calendar year 2025 contribution to the Volunteer Firefighter Defined Contribution Service Award Program Trust Fund for the program year 2024 is $27,300. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby accept the annual Length of Service Awards, LoSAP, reports for the 2024 prepared by Penflex, Inc., of Latham, New York, in form and content as is on file in the office of the Town Clerk. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorizes and directs payment to the Volunteer Firefighter Defined Contribution Service Award Program Trust Fund for the program year 2024 in the amount of $27,300. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Murphy and Maluda.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Resolution authorizing the hiring of the assessor of an assessor assistant. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Dover desires to hire an assistant to the Town of Dover tax assessor to assist the assessor in her duties. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby authorize the hiring of Robert Regan to the part-time position of assistant to the town assessor at an hourly rate of $25 per hour for a period not to exceed 15 hours per week, effective July 1st, 2025. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Holmes, seconded by Jackson. Discussion. This is an assessor in training. Myself, Councilwoman Jackson interviewed him. We presented him to the board today, and here's a resolution. So we'll be making the decision to either bring him on board or keep looking. All right? But it's time, and we need to find some help and possible replacement down the road. All right? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Authorize the payment for Boyce Park Pond regrading from Parks Capital Reserve. Whereas the Town of Dover Recreation Commission has approved an expense from Savarese Septic Service Incorporated for machine use for Boyce Park Pond regarding in the amount of regrading in the amount of $8,000 to be paid from the Parks Capital Reserve. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorizes an expense from Savarese Septic Service Incorporated for machine use for Boyce Park Pond regrading in the amount of $8,000 to be paid from the Parks Capital Reserve. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorizes a budget modification to increase expenditure account A 7110.4.400 and revenue account A 9999000 in the amount of $8,000. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Murphy, seconded by Holmes. Discussion.
They did a great job.
They're the ones that dress that up down there. I have a letter here from our Dover Rec Commission Chair. Dear Dover Town Board, I, Kevin Katowski, approve the amount of $8,000 payable to Savarese Septic Service Incorporated to be used for the regrading that was done at Boyce Park Pond. It will be taken out of the Parks Capital Reserve, and And then the invoice is here shared with it for $8,000 from Savarese. So a lot of work was done in the last year, a little over a year, and it's all coming together, like was said earlier by Jason and by Jan.
Yeah, the stone looks great, everything, the
Yep.
grading, everything looks good.
So hopefully green by Dover Day, Jules. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So carried.
Supervisor?
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was out of town, but one additional resolution came up, and it's related to the parking space at Boyce Park. Julie, the folks from Community-Based Services, would you be able just to talk about it just briefly? They sent a draft agreement, whether you decide to do it tonight or next month, at least we could bring it up as a topic.
So the community-based, they would like to have a van at Boyce Park and keep that throughout the year. It would be a one-year contract. Every year we would redo it if we choose to. Basically, they would leave the van there. They have residents in Wingdale, Dover, and probably a little bit in Pauling and Amenia. I'm not quite sure, but so what they would do is they would, instead of going to home base, picking up the van, they would come to Dover, go back. It would be kind of a less back and forth. So basically, their employees will just come right to the park, get the van, pick up their people. And what they do is, it's a volunteer. It's, excuse me. They do a lot of volunteer throughout the towns. The residents come and they volunteer throughout different towns. So it's just easier for them to come to Wingdale, park the van there and leave it, and then they can go from place to place locally instead of going back and forth to where their home base is in Hopewell. So, and we would park them at a specific spot. They're responsible for their own shoveling out, all that kind of stuff, and taking care of their car. They have the insurance. They sent the agreement to Tom and the board to vote on whether you would want them to do that or not.
Okay, did I miss this to put into the resolutions?
It just came yesterday while I was at it.
Yeah, yesterday.
I know I've been watching the email trail
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah, she was last minute. I mean, we have to put it off, we put it off. If not,
Yeah,
you
it wasn't
know.
on the agenda, and I had some questions about,
So we need to wait?
well, it's up to the board. There was, and Julie, there was a provision, just a minor thing I caught, that the town be responsible for managing the parking space to ensure it's accessible. I didn't know if that's possible.
I
if it's
told them, I
snowstorm,
think
you
in one
know.
of the emails that they were responsible for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
we would pick their spot, but if it was snowing, if it was snowed, they would be responsible
So I
for
think
getting
that-
the van in and
I think we have to
out.
hold off, because it says the town
Yep.
of Dover's responsible,
Yep.
so I think we could probably
Okay.
do it at the July meeting.
July meeting?
They sent a proof of insurance that I requested, and it might be an oversight, and they want, we have to fill in a blank of the term. It's gonna be a one-year term with a
Yeah.
30-day, notice. Either side could cancel, so if it's not working out.
So if we're unhappy, 30 days, we
30
can
day
give them,
notice,
say
we
you're
could-
out?
Correct.
Okay.
So, the one thing I had highlighted was that the town of Dover is responsible for managing the parking space to ensure it's accessible. We don't have the manpower to do that, so
Yep.
that has to be
So
them.
if we get a bomber of a blizzard,
Yeah, they're on
they
their
can't
own,
get to
yeah.
their van, it'd be our
Yeah.
response, I get it.
Yeah,
That's why I wanted to.
Okay.
and if, yeah,
Maybe, do we word it, maybe we can make additional, other accommodations if we know a storm is coming?
Yeah, we could speak,
Maybe put it here, because this is plowed.
yeah, something like that.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You talk to the representative about that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I
Yep.
mean, that would be the easiest solution. I
Yeah,
think.
either that or we're putting it in a place that it's not going to interfere with the trucks going back and forth, plowing with their trucks, so.
Okay, so we'll hold off till
Work on that.
July.
Okay,
Just to get the final
No,
version.
thank you, council.
thank
I
you.
thought I missed it.
No, okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
There you go.
There's just one public comment.
Okay.
The others are not here.
All right, moving on to, this is the session of the meeting. We have public comments. Any public comments, you can approach the podium. The one name I have, I believe, is still here, is Angela. I don't want to mispronounce your last name, I'm sorry.
Milan.
Milan.
Everyone mispronounces it.
Okay, all right,
Most people say melon. So,
all right.
My name is Angela Milano. I'm a member of a Board of Trustees for the library, and I'm also a parent of 3 Dover school kids. One is a graduate, class of 2025, who is also an employee at the library. I wasn't expecting today to become that adversarial in terms of what the communication was, and I certainly don't want you to think that we don't appreciate your efforts, because we do, and we know that this is an ongoing process, but the difficulty that Amy faces because she has a vested interest in the success of the town and the library, and I know she gets passionate about it because it falls to her to have to explain to people why programs are canceled, why they can't come in if there's a brownout and they have no power at home. You know, unless you wait in line 3 times to buy stamps at the post office, there are not many options. And the post office is a great place for people to be able to come, you know, when the heat is severe the way it has been. And, you know, the employees are dealing with it. So I would implore you, just as a town resident, not just in my role with the library, but if you can declare it a state of emergency and have it be something that's considered as a severe situation, it would really be appreciated. Because my daughter went to work today and it's unbearable. The heat is very difficult. And I know,
I totally understand. And I guess I take it a little personal sometimes because several calls have gotten to me in the last 2 days that I'm not doing anything. Well, I am. Okay?
Well, that's probably just a miscommunication.
And that's fine. And she's right. We've known about the failing of this system and the failure of the system probably since last summer. Okay? But we kept Band-Aiding it because through the few vendors that I've reached out to for information, I've been told to prepare for over $100,000 for the AC system. And then I got hit. That's why the generator didn't get put in. I had to cancel the generator job because the boiler went. And because of the rates that municipalities and governments get charged, both through prevailing wages and just everything else being sky high, that boiler for that building cost me $45,000. So the generator got canceled. A lot of other things got put on, not just the AC got put on the back burner. Okay? So I worked on it. Then Taylor says, you know, we might be able to Band-Aid it 1 or 2 more times. I think I have some parts. Well, then way after the budget process, after the new year, yeah, we're done. Okay. So now I start working on things. And I'll admit it. Then I heard about the possible increase coming. So now I've got to reboot.
Right, but that's
because
conjecture, too. That's not
I
really
am the
something that
financial
should be
officer,
brought
so
up in
I tried to
public
find a different
forum
route than
before
borrowing the
petitions
money.
are in.
That's
It's
right.
public
That's
information
fine.
if you have petitions out.
But nothing's been submitted
So
yet.
I'm working on it. All right? I have the paperwork right here. I can't go public because I don't know if I have it yet. But I have a lead on a good large sum of money, and I'm hoping that after a discussion tomorrow, they will find a way to get me the approval earlier.
That would be fantastic.
If it's not earlier, then I've got to reboot and I've got to make some decisions. I know it's hot. I know it's going to be one hell of a summer. I know that. It's not like I'm sitting here not doing it.
No, but I
take
again,
it personal when I'm accused of not doing the right thing or doing it fast enough.
Right, but I don't think that was Amy's intention in coming here to, it
Okay,
certainly
that's
was
fine.
not, it's not a personal
Well,
situation.
when my guy went there to measure things up today, I could tell there was a little dissension there.
Well, she was also there all day until
I
7 p.m.
I understand.
So, you know, to her
Right.
credit, she stayed, and the full-time employees stayed
Yep.
for the duration of the day, despite
get
the
it.
discomfort, which, you know, I appreciate. They have a lot of summer programs,
Mm-hmm.
many of which are also drop-off programs for young children. And when you have parents dropping kids off and you're assuming that responsibility and the temperature rises, at what point do you make the determination that you can no longer host that program and that parents have to now come and collect their children ahead of,
I
you
get
know,
it.
what the scheduled time was? There's just a lot at play. So, you know, again, I don't think it was meant to be a personal attack.
I assure you right now that after a conversation tomorrow, I would probably expect a process or a plan to be put in place. And I'm going to do what I can tomorrow, because again, it's 100,000 to 100, told to prepare for over 100K. That's a big hit.
Certainly.
Especially if I go through my fund balance through an emergency type process. That's a big hit, and I haven't even started my budget process yet. That's next month. So I understand. Truthfully, I really do. I apologize if I went a little a little overboard a little bit.
Well, we don't
But
want it to be
I
an
take things-
adversarial kind of
I take things a little
relationship.
too personal sometimes, all right? And we do what we can, and I feel we all work hard. And we're working on this. It's not like it just got thrown out the window.
No, and I don't think,
Okay.
no one really thought that that was what the
And
case
again,
was.
you know, I'll know something more by early next week.
That's great.
And I know it's July. I get it. All right?
Thank
But
you.
today's was just to try to fix and alleviate the issue. Because we thought it would work. Actually, a few of us came up with that idea. I'll buy them off a contract, put them in the window until I get the big one in there. At least it helped. Well, then that's why the guy went and measured and checked out the power outlets and, you know, then the conversation went elsewhere on the power tonight, so that's okay. All right?
Okay.
Generator's coming.
All right, great. Thanks
Yep.
very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Morrissey, Ms. Judson, anything tonight? I know you're interested in hearing some results, Holly. I'll read them if you want.
Oh, that's right, I'll wait for Katie, and I had the...
Well, the 16th isn't a meeting night.
I know.
Oh.
You corrected me, so I was not looking in the right place, so...
Okay.
I apologize.
No, that's fine, because
Yeah,
I have
no,
some
if-
information for you if
Katie
you'd
will-
like.
but we can do that too, and then if I have it in writing, because my memory's not that great.
Okay.
I just have a quick question, because it's a lot of money. The abstract 6, I was trying to poke around, like, what is that for? $300,000?
That's all the monthly bills.
Oh, okay, so that's just the big gold
That's-
pot
that's
of
every
money.
month.
Okay. My other question is, I understand you're reaching out with Michelle Hinckley, is that it? for
Hinchy,
the-
yep.
So, do we have a contingency? I know when we were doing the rec building, it went to a separate vote.
Mhm.
Is it possible to do a bond or something as a separate vote
That's
for
what
the
I was,
library
that's what I'm trying to
do?
avoid. I'm trying to avoid borrowing money.
We all do.
Yep.
I know.
By avoiding borrowing money, I don't have to put that payment into the budget for '26. That's what
Right.
I'm trying,
Sometimes necessary.
that's what I'm trying to avoid, because I do have a possible increase coming, based on how the voters vote. I know I got increases already coming from everyday bills, just like I do every year, and I know I have a $149,000 or $159,000 increase for ambulance service again. So I'm trying to avoid borrowing the money, so I reached out, and I begged the state, and they
Let's see
said,
what
submit
happens."
it. Congratulations, you've reached the first step with a number figure. So that's where we're at. That's been submitted. All the information that they wanted has been submitted. I went out and got some estimates from vendors, electricians, and HVAC guys, gave them the information with at least an idea of what it's going to cost me, and that came in at almost $90,000.
Yeah, I know, it's not cheap. I had to put the
88.5.
furniture in last year.
And that's exactly what's on the paperwork, but
Just-
it's
just
not
that
even this
so
close
many
to
are
being approved yet.
affected, you know, school lunch pickup
I know.
programs and kids after school and elderly that are hot and no place to go. It's a big
Well, I had
concern.
to take it off the emergency list.
Right.
We took it off years ago, and the county still had it on there. So, by knowing that, I called Bill Beal the other
Little
day, the
leverage.
acting commish, and I said, you got to take us off the list. So as I answered somebody on the thing the other day, we will make plans as needed. And it's with buildings that we have generators at and AC at. We will make plans if it's needed for cooling, charging type stations for phones and computers and laptops and whatever else. We'll make arrangements if it comes to that, because the library is now out of the picture until it's fixed.
Yeah, okay.
And the generator's en route. It came in damaged, so now we lost another month on the generator job. We got that call
And where
today.
was the generator going?
Library,
But there's nothing to run.
when power
What's
is
it
out,
gonna-
the generator will
power in
kick
general,
on,
but if
and then
it's
I can still
set
use it.
87 degrees there,
I can
what's the
still
point?
use it to power up that building.
Yeah.
That's all. It's
Right.
never had one. It's never had a backup generator. So we used ARP money, which was COVID money, I'll say, and we bought a generator for there and to redo when we built the garage at Highway. Didn't cost us any, didn't cost the budget anything. Cost us somewhere, as taxpayers, but that's the plan. But we took the call today, and the generator's on another month hold. Should have been here last month. Came in damaged. So,
And we know imports are slow, so
Yeah.
I'd love to hear the numbers, and thank you for answering my questions.
yep.
If I may just
Yeah.
interject, the school also doesn't have air conditioning, so I totally understand what you're saying.
And she works there.
Yep, was there all day.
So we had a, Myself and Councilman Holmes had a meeting with Mrs. Judson a couple weeks ago now. And we talked about the Cricket Hill situation, we talked about some studies, we talked about an email that she sent to Commissioner Balkine, and he answered the email, and I think he answered it in a more, I think our conclusion was a more positive answer than what he gave me. I had my meeting, I explained to Diane that I had my meeting with him, I sent him an official email and a request for what you all asked for. It says, Commissioner Balkine, I want to first say thank you for our discussion. The two residents have attended our meetings to express the worries they have, and I also have received calls from other residents as well that live on that road. As you know, we have submitted the paperwork for a speed study to be done, and I thank you for the guidance that you gave us in the process. And now all we can do is wait for the New York State DOT to basically complete the study. Residents have asked me to request that the county highway consider changing the traffic that is allowed on this road by setting lighter weight limits to help the situation, along with a local delivery only type signage for heavier trucks. They also have a concern with a culvert that is on the south end of the road. They feel the lighter weight limits are justified because of that. They say that the traffic has become entirely too busy for the road compared to years ago, and it seems to be getting worse. They have spoken on and provided the V&T law along with the article number, which is 40, section 16, 50, and 51, which I provided to you at our meeting. They both feel that this change to Cricket Hill can be done with a directive of official order by the head of highway if the concerns that are presented in the town's requests are found to be both valid and justified. I've also explained to our residents that this is possibly a GPS issue, which we spoke about at that meeting, and we do have some contacts, hopefully, to reach out to Google Maps, right? I will look into the process you explained to me about possibly making the change to GPS providers at the town's request and see what I can do. So, I ask Mr. Balkine, on the behalf of the town and its residents, please consider what we talked about and the request of making changes to this road to help the traffic issue and the weight limit issue traveling across this county road. I thank you for your time and your consideration. Be well and stay safe. That was Tuesday, May 27th, I sent that, after the meeting. Late.
So almost a
Yep.
month ago.
Yep. He answered me, and he basically answered he would not do any changes.
So he's
That's
not
the-
entertaining any.
Then, Mrs. Judson sent her email with several pictures and another study from another town or wherever it was, I don't have it in front of me, and he answered, "Thank you for your email. The Department of Public Works will investigate and determine if there is a significant traffic safety issue. If our investigation reveals a notable crash and safety concern, we will further investigate to determine what measures are appropriate." And then he sent the study from '23 because that's the last complete year that's on record. '24 is not totally input yet. Okay? So we both agreed that we felt that was a positive response. And then he answered by, "Good morning, Ms. Judson. We are looking into actual crash data at 3 intersections. The intersection of Old Route 22 and the intersection of Route 22. In the segment between intersections, I expect to have crash data compiled in 2 to 3 weeks. Our office is aware of the issues on Old Route 22, and we are already looking into intersection for an improvement. No timeline is complete studies or develop solutions as yet, but we are beginning to topographic survey at the intersections." So that was another positive one. And then he sent this, I believe it was sent to you as well, crash data 5-year period of 1/1/2020 through 12/31 of '24. As requested, here is the crash data for the most recent 5-year period. 26, Cricket Hill Road and CR6 intersection, that's down on the south end below, next to your daughter's house. Total crashes, 7, single vehicle 5, injury 2, dark 3, wet road 4, alcohol 1. County Route 26, Cricket Hill Road and New York Route 22 intersection, total crashes 19, single vehicle 7, injury 10, dark 3, wet road 2, no alcohol, snow and ice 5. This is being sent by traffic engineer Stephen Gill.
I'm sorry, that was in '24?
It was a
It was 5-year period, 1/1 of 2020 through the end of '24.
Didn't we have a fatality last year?
But that's not, they don't have access to that.
They don't do
That was 24.
If it was in '24, it would be in here.
And different state.
Different state? Oh. Cricket Hill, entire length between the intersections. Total crashes, 9, single vehicle, 8, injury, 2, dark, 5, wet road, 5, alcohol, 1, deer and animal, 8. So that's the traffic study that,
Can I take a look at that?
yep, that the county sent us. And then I also spoke on the speed study that the sheriffs did up on the straightaway, I believe up by you, Holly, maybe south or east of you, west of you.
Yeah.
When it was there, and then they placed it down by Diane's house.
Really on either end.
Yep, this is from Captain Watterson. Attached, you will find the speed summary statistics from the recent speed trailer assignment on Cricket Hill. As you can see, the data was compiled over a 25-day period during which approximately 31,450 vehicles traveled through the area and then the average speed, at an average speed of just over 41 miles per hour. Other significant statistics are the percentile speeds, which indicate 50% of the vehicles were traveling at or below the speed of 41, and 85% of them were traveling at or below 47. And then the statistics on the back is total days were 25, speed limit zones of 40 and 45, average speed 41.16. Minimum speed was 10, a maximum speed was measured at 78. Average volume per day, 1,258 cars. Total volume over 24 days, 31,451.
That's a lot of cars on a residential road,
Yep. Well, see, they don't see it as a residential road.
but it is. It's a community residential road, and I'd be curious to see what the stats are on speed, like the first 4 to 5 days. They're like, oh, there's a sign, I better slow down. For those 5 days versus the whole month. But yeah, 1,200 cars a day is crazy, and when the amount of trucks that have come across just this past year, and I think a lot of them are going to Sidewalk Bridge, I can't say that for sure, but they're heavy industrial trucks.
Coming out of Connecticut, we said, right? Coming out of Connecticut, going to Silo?
Traversing our road, they're going both ways.
Again, it's a
And
shortcut.
Not necessarily just Connecticut. And Diane reminded me, we did have a fatal accident at the bottom of Cricket Hill, but because they were brought to, they didn't die on scene, but they did pass, is my understanding. And it's a small point in the big thing, and it's a tragedy, but, so records can change. But that's a lot of cars. Imagine if you had 1,000 a day
Mhm.
on this road with all these homes. It's just,
Which they did it somewhat. But the vehicle count across the hill, across the road, do you know who did that? And
That usually it doesn't come out of highway, believe it or not. It comes out of county planning.
so they-
Owen Rafter is the commissioner for county
So
planning.
do they have the data from that, because that was done?
Is it still out?
No, it's gone.
It's gone? I could call.
That would be interesting to see.
Yep.
And I have to say this one thing, the 10 mile an hour was me. It registered me walking down the hill.
That's a pretty fast walk.
I'm impressed.
That's a brisk pace, yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't real, but yeah.
Okay. Go
Can I
ahead.
ask one more question? You mentioned that you were reaching out to have the GPS changed, so
Mhm.
that's not a truck route.
What we did find out, and I have to thank my wife for this, she found out that a large property owner in Dover, Mr. Muncy, actually made contact with somebody because the GPS, if you came from Connecticut or from the south or even the west over Wingdale Mountain, County Route 21, the GPS would tell you to take Berkshire Road to TMR Farms, which, if you know where Berkshire Road is, you go over through the intersection, past 55, turn a right on Reagan's Mill, go to the Y, take a left, and follow that dirt wooded mountain road all the way to Jimmy's property. And it sends you that way because I know, because attendees at meetings that we have held in his spot have had to come that way, no matter what time of year. But what it didn't do is tell you not to go that way when we close it October 1st, I think? So he reached out, and it took him a hell of a long time, he did say that, to make some contacts with, I believe, Google Maps, right?
He said Tyler handled it for him.
Okay, so Tommy has reached out to him, and he's going to get his contact names and information. One of his employees did most of the work. So we're going to go that route and try to get Cricket Hill at least changed or adjusted. I don't know what the word would be.
Even federal guidelines, those trucks over 10,000 pounds legally should not be on that road. The road is not.
I can't speak for the commissioner. He's quoting something. I don't know. You heard my official request.
Yeah.
That's exactly everything you guys wanted me to ask.
Thank you.
And
Do you have a timeline to talk to Google and get some help on this and change?
Well, we got to get in touch with
Yeah,
Google.
gotta just get in touch with them first.
Pardon?
You have to get in touch with them first. I'm waiting for an answer, who to contact, who Tyler contacted,
Mr. Muncie's getting you that information?
one of his employees.
his employees.
Great.
That was a couple weeks ago. We haven't gotten it yet.
Can we knock on the door again and remind them that we're...
Sure.
Yeah,
What does dark mean? Just night?
Afternoon.
Night.
After daylight is the way I
Yeah,
understand
there's
it.
a time now that the school buses are not there, that for the fall, we can ensure these kids' safety, that they're not being dropped off at the bottom of the hill to walk up to their homes, so their bus doesn't get hit. Like, it's not a matter of convenience, this is serious.
Have you
Believe me,
reached
I
out to Bob
understand. I
yet?
live
Has
on
he had a
county
meeting with
road,
you
too,
or discussion?
As we talked with Mrs. Judson a couple weeks ago.
I missed that question.
Because neither the town nor the county have sovereign immunity once you've been told about the risks. They
I
need
can only read what he answers. I don't know how he's thinking or going about it, but I can only read what he sends back to us. So, okay, that's where we're at.
All right.
And truthfully, I haven't been called by the state, and I've been checking at least every other week. So I don't know if they've done their study or not, but the county did theirs.
It would be nice to get that data, because that'll show that, what the
It's
actual-
funny, they won't answer on that, but they answered on the bump in Dover when I sent them a nice email this morning. So it's a different department.
Let's
That's
get
all it is.
Yeah. It'll be sweet.
Yep, all right,
Thank you very
good.
much.
I wish I can give you more, but I can only read what he sends me.
Thanks, Katie.
All right? Anything else?
Well, I just want to, going back to the library, as Commander of the Legion, I gave Amy everything she asked for. And the weekends, she knows that we have, graduations, birthdays, things like that. I've had 80-year-old birthday parties, I've had going-away parties, I've had graduation parties, and they happen on sporadic weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. I got one coming Sunday. So I cannot, I have to share. And the second thing is, I didn't wire the building. So.
All right.
I think if we just figure out a way to communicate better, I think some of this problem is better alleviated.
Okay.
Whether somebody on the board becomes the liaison.
I am the liaison.
She is the
I am
liaison.
surprised that the other trustees did not tell you that, but I reach out to 2 trustees every month to ask if there's anything they need to tell me. And nobody told me, nobody reminded me about the air conditioning to discuss anything. Nobody's told me about anything else. I get referred to, check with Amy about the programs. That's what I was told by 2 separate board members for the last 2 months.
I think because this was already in progress and there had been communication with Mr. Yeno, so.
Right, but there's other issues that, I was on the library board for 10 years before I became a town board member, and I am happy to assist the library in communications, but I'm there if you want me at the meetings, but I wait to be invited, so whenever you want me there, I'm there.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next upcoming meetings are Wednesday, July 30th and then Wednesday, August 27th. So they're the next two meetings coming. With that, I'll make a motion that we go into an executive session to discuss our litigation issues that are going on at this time. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made by myself and seconded by Deputy Supervisor Murphy to go into an executive session to discuss litigation and not return to the dais. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. We're in executive session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.